Today, Gaming America is sitting down with Alex Dixon, CEO of Q Casino and Dubuque Racing Association, a non-for-profit casino that has helped put Dubuque, Iowa on the map. With him, we will discuss the ups and downs of running such an operation. Mr. Dixon, thank you so much for sitting down with us today.
Thank you, Cameron. Excited to be here.
First off, I just want to ask, how are you finding Iowa? I know you moved here not too long ago.
No, Iowa is amazing. This is a big, beautiful country we have here in the States. And what I've learned is after living on the coast for a number of years, there's a great opportunity, not only in the Midwest broadly, but specifically here in Iowa. I think our best days are ahead of us, and our family has loved it. It's definitely a smaller town, but bigger is not always better, is what I tell people. And we couldn't be happier with the move, with the people. We've been welcomed, and we can't wait to welcome other people to continue to move here and grow our population.
Excellent. Well, I was curious about your background, where you came from, and how you ended up at this place in gaming, in the gaming industry at which you now find yourself.
No, that's great. And, I'll tell you a little quick story just about myself, and it's a little windy, but looking forward to. So again, Alex Dixon, President and CEO here at Q Casino in Dubuque, Iowa, but I'm born and raised in Las Vegas. I'm a third generation hospitality employee. Our family migrated from Alabama and Tallulah, Louisiana, like so many others in Las Vegas, to really start working in the casinos back in the 50s when Vegas was very segregated. And so we started out as maids, porters, cooks, but through the years have been able to progress up through the casino industry. But I started at Durango High School in Las Vegas and went on to Howard University in Washington, D.C. I started with Goldman Sachs right out of school. I was a finance major, really focusing on mergers and acquisitions in the oil and gas space. So spent some time in New York, then moved to London, but finished my career with Goldman Sachs in the LA office, really focusing on mergers and acquisitions within media and entertainment. I then was there while we advised Disney when they bought Pixar. But after that experience, I met my wife. We moved to Vegas, and I started working at a boutique investment bank, Silver Pacific Advisors, now Baltus Capital, that was focused on raising capital for developers who wanted these big master plan communities, as well as gaming properties. And so it was through that experience where I said I had my aha moment and really wanted to go into gaming as a general manager. And so to do that, I left. I joined Caesars Entertainment, started out as a director of planning and analysis in Vegas, and worked kind of my way up. We reorganized the company. This was when TPG and Apollo had owned it. And but I recognized that I wanted to move from being an individual contributor to a leader of operations. And so Maryland opened up gaming, and I was fortunate enough to move my family in 2013. I became the assistant general manager at Horseshoe Baltimore. We raised $442 million of project level debt, and we hired 2,200 people, got the business going. And so that was the first big job. Then I got a call from MGM. It was through the Rooney Rule, where they needed to have someone to kind of interview. And I was very fortunate with that opportunity to land as a general manager at MGM Springfield, and did it all over again. Hired 3,000 people, $1 billion development downtown Springfield on 14 acres. MGM went through a big corporate reshuffle. I landed as a president and chief operating officer at Circus Circus in Las Vegas, moved the family in 2019. And then in August, MGM decided to sell Circus Circus to Phil Ruffin. We closed that deal for $825 million. I decided not to stay on with Mr. Ruffin, and got a call from private equity. I landed as a president at Brady Lennon, a company of Pure Star. COVID hit. We had 1,200 employees. We went down to 45, and then I really reassessed life and wanted to get back in hospitality and gaming. And then I got a call from Dubuque, Iowa, and so the family moved here in August of 2021, and we're off to the races. And that's a little bit about me, the backstory, and how we landed here in Iowa.
Sure. I have to ask, what's the overlap and skill set between finance and gaming operations and hospitality?
Well, Wall Street is gambling, and I'm happy to move over to gaming now. And so we, but no, in all seriousness, really the core skill set from a finance perspective, and this is where that experience has really come to full bear. As a general manager within a big multinational corporation, your job is to manage the P&L from revenues down to EBITDA or cash flow. And so now as a CEO, although it's a much smaller organization, I really have the opportunity, and what I'm really excited about is to manage all three financial statements, the balance sheet, cash flow, as well as the income statement. And that's where all the fun and excitement happens. And there's very few people in our industry who get to manage gaming businesses to all three of those financial statements. And so that's what's exciting about the role here in Dubuque. And that's the overlap between, let's say, my Wall Street experience and now hospitality.
Sure. Does sound interesting, having your fingers in all those different pies. So you're currently the CEO of Q Casino and Dubuque Racing Association. Now, for our viewers, I was just wondering if you could explain the distinction between the two.
Yeah, no, that's great. So the Dubuque Racing Association is a nonprofit organization. We are one of only two nonprofit casinos really in the country. And so I never heard of this form of business. Up until this point, I always knew that there was Native American gaming and commercial gaming. But what is really exciting about this model is that back in the early 1980s, Dubuque was really going through a tough time. Manufacturing had left the community, and we were somewhat on our up against the ropes. And so the community formed a nonprofit organization to bring greyhound racing to Dubuque, Iowa. And so we, as a community, put forth a bond of about $7 million to be able to raise money to build a greyhound facility. That was paid off very early by being able to be very successful at run greyhound racing. But through the years, as greyhound racing has tapered, we were able to win a casino license here in Dubuque. And what's unique is that the Dubuque Racing Association is a nonprofit, but all of the profits of this facility go to either local nonprofits or to the city. So in fact, we are able here in Dubuque, we have the lowest property taxes in the state of Iowa, largely because the city owns the casino. And so we are built on an island in the middle of the Mississippi River that is owned by the city. And then also the casino owns all of the profits. And so this year we've been able to return $12 million back to our community in a town of 65,000 people, largely because we don't just lease the property to a private casino. We have the ability to deliver both the rent that we pay to the city, as well as property taxes on some of the land that we own outright. But then because there's an equity ownership component within here, is that we're able to deliver those funds back to the city that goes directly into the general fund. That also helps to pay for roads, bridges from that perspective. And so it's been an exciting model that, quite frankly, part of what I want to do is to let other cities in America know that as you are looking towards expansion of gaming within your state or within your community, you should think and look towards the model that has been developed here in Dubuque, Iowa, because the returns and development opportunity that can accrue to your community in many cases may be a better fit for where you're going within your state or within your city.
And so the community owns the casino, you give some back to the community, surely you reinvest some in your operations and improving all of that as well, correct?
Absolutely. And so if we think about this business, it's a business no different than any other. In this case, we pay rent to the city, but we also have a robust capital program. And so part of my job to the board of directors who I report to is to deliver a capital growth plan that will help to not only help differentiate us with them among our regional competitors, but really leverage the opportunity of this island in the Mississippi River that we do have. And so we have the ability to raise capital, to deploy it, as well as deliver some of our financial returns into an endowment that helps to make sure that we're able to support our community from years to come. And so specifically, of the profits that we make, 1/3 now go to the city into the general fund, 1/3 goes to local charities, And another third will now go towards a development fund that will help us deliver a master plan to really make this a great regional destination. And so that model works for our community. It works for our region, but also it works for our business.
And can you talk a little bit about the master plan, the time frame, and I mean, how big are we talking in terms of?
No, it's we have an amazing opportunity, and I'd love to be able to share the beautiful images that we're working through. We're going to be engaging local developers, architects, but also making sure that we engage with folks like Steelman. This is a group who just recently built Resorts World or helped to design it. That level of design attention in our interior space is going to help to empower what we're going to be developing. And so today, we own the land and we're owned by the city. So the best way I describe it is we're very much like a sovereign wealth fund. And so take a look at what folks in the Middle East are doing with their land assets. We're going to be developing a great regional destination that's going to incorporate an indoor-outdoor amphitheater, a great hotel, great pool, great spa. Think modern cabins of Airbnbs along waterfront. We're going to be helping to really unlock the potential of the Mississippi River so that we're able to get people to the river. The river today is used as a function of industry. And in the future, we want to make sure that we're able to unlock the power of this great natural resource. And so we sit really at the nexus of Wisconsin, Illinois, and Iowa. And the development that we're going to bring here is going to make sure that everyone within a 2.5, 3 hour mile radius wants to look towards this land as a respite. And to do that, we are working in lockstep with the city, with Parks and Recs, with Fish and Wildlife, all of these different agencies. They're going to help us materialize our great plans, and we're excited about it. Sure.
Can I just ask, how big is the island?
So the island itself probably sits on about 100 acres altogether.
Okay.
And it is, again, sits within the middle of the river. There's a highway that bisects it coming from Wisconsin over into Iowa. And so it is truly a unique experience where you've got areas that are within the floodplain, areas that sit above the floodplain. And so it's really a great geotechnical exercise, but making sure that we work with our city as well as other partners to make sure we're able to deliver a great product.
Pretty exciting stuff.
It is.
Yeah. You also mentioned the third of the revenue that goes to charities.
Right.
Could you speak a little bit more about that, perhaps?
No, it is a fantastic model. So everyone in the state of Iowa who holds a gaming license has to have a relationship with a qualified sponsoring organization. And so this was set up within the state at its infancy and has for many years continued throughout. We're unique in that we are the qualified sponsoring organization for the Q Casino, as well as the Diamond Joe, which the Diamond Joe is a separate standalone casino here in Dubuque. It's owned by Boyd Gaming, but they coordinate with us where we are able to work together to be able to deliver charitable revenue back to the community. And so this year, we're going to deliver a record $4 million to charitable organizations within a town of 65,000 people. Just think of that we are now going to be shifting our focus to make sure that we focused on growing our population as a region, because growing the market helps to solve a lot of our workforce issues, our childcare issues, but as well as helping to make sure that we're able to welcome visitors because we have a lot of exciting things on the forefront. One of which is the Field of Dreams. So very close here to Dubuque is Dyersville, about 20 minutes drive. And for our viewers, many of you may be familiar with the film, The Field of Dreams.
And they will come.
Yeah, and they will come. And that's what we're doing. We are building really an entity. And so last year, many of your viewers might have watched the Field of Dreams game where the Yankees played the White Sox. It was the highest rated midseason game for Fox. And we're going to be welcoming those people back. And so what we now want to do is to make sure that we have the infrastructure and the hospitality network to welcome so that we can become not only a big league city, but a big league state.
Sure. It's pretty neat. And I suppose with all that you're giving back to the community, you must enjoy pretty high level of popularity among the community, would you say?
Oh, believe me, this organization, the Dubuque Racing Association, who I'm very fortunate and pleased to lead, we're going through a transition because as greyhound racing goes away, we want to make sure that we honor those who helped us to be here, but really we chart a path for the future. And so to that end, that with that popularity, we want to make sure that we also are being good stewards of these resources. And so to that end, we will be engaging with our community to say, how are we making sure that the funds that we deliver back to the community are helping the broader network to make sure that we're more resilient? And so to that end, we're really going to be challenging ourselves as well as challenging our grant recipients to help drive growth into the future so that we can, be the great community that we are, but take us to the next level and grow that resiliency.
Excellent, excellent. I wanted to move on a little bit, if I could. The pandemic was pretty hard on a lot of land-based operators. I'm wondering how you guys fared through that, and if you've recovered fully, or if you're still dealing with the after effects of it.
We have recovered fully. We've changed our business model. We tripled net income, and because we're public, we can talk about that and it's a big reason of that is we've been able to adapt to be able to understand how our marketing efforts need to make sure that they're being more effective. We've made sure that we understand what are the amenities that our customers want and need and tailored those. But we've also had the benefit, like many others in land-based, particularly in the regional markets, have benefited from, in some cases, lower visitation, but higher worth players coming in more frequently. And so all that combined, our best days are ahead. COVID has, like across the industry, impacted us, from our workforce to our customer base. But we've been responsible along the way. I think Iowa has done a great job at striking the right balance of being able to keep commerce going, keeping kids in school, while doing the best to be able to mitigate the horrible impacts that this has ravaged on our community. In Nevada, before I moved to Iowa, I was a member of the governor's task force helping to fight COVID-19, and it was a very traumatic impact to us in Las Vegas, in Nevada. We did the best, but I think if we put ourselves up, speaking of Nevada, against really major metro areas, we've done a phenomenal job at bouncing back. We just hosted the All-Star game for NFL, but here in Iowa, we've really, I think, been leaders, and will continue to make the tweaks necessary to make sure that folks know that this is a place where they can come, they can be safe. But financially, post-COVID, we've learned a lot. And what's great here is that we're able to deliver those returns back to the community. We're then able to give more of those profits back to charities. And so that's the exciting piece of this model.
Cool. How about within the operation, would you say that non-gaming is a bigger portion of your revenue than gaming, or is non-gaming growing, or what's the dynamic between those?
No, so today we are very gaming centric, and tomorrow we will be gaming centric with a new stream of business that is, let's say, hospitality focused. So the first investments that we'll make from a capital perspective are to reinvest in our core customer so that there are newer slot machines, new gaming equipment, new ways to be able to engage, hopefully in a cashless manner, hopefully in a way that is seamless so that we can grow organically by acquiring newer and in some cases younger guests. But then we're going to tack on a whole hospitality aspect of our business that we really haven't materialized today. And so with the land assets that we have, we are going to be able to convert underutilized land into cash producing assets that will then help to further grow the net income that we're able to deliver to our community, but give people a reason why to come to Iowa, why to come to Greater Dubuque, and to come be able to see the Mississippi River. And so we're going to see a dramatic growth within our backwater stage, our indoor outdoor amphitheater, And so all these things are going to be accretive and will create a virtuous cycle that will help to grow our gaming business by helping to build out what Vegas did many years ago of building out a robust hospitality program.
Yeah. And I'm curious, this quest to get younger people into the casino, what sort of ideas are being batted around?
Well, in many ways, the ideas that are going to be helpful to make sure that we're culturally relevant for folks anywhere from 21 to 101 is that you have to have amenities that people within that. And when I mean younger is like 55, 45, folks, in that age range that have some disposable income, but maybe have not gone to a traditional casino. We have the ability, I think, to open the aperture of the service offerings that we can have. And so to that end, we have a great outdoor concert series, but now we need to raise the level of fit and finish in that experience so that people who may want to come out to the river, catch a show, can do it and really spend a day or a weekend. So we want to take a 2-hour visit and make a 2-day visit by having great walking trails, having a great hospitality hotel. We need to have a great wedding chapel. We need to have meeting space. We need to have all the things that exist in many other traditional hospitality assets. And so we're not creating anything new under the sun. In many ways, is we're going to catch up to where others have already led. We're just going to make it our own, and we're going to put our Iowa spin on it. We're going to continue to be Midwest nice and make sure that our best asset, which is our phenomenal employees, are able to spend more time with their customers in new and different ways.
Sure. And I have to ask, it's sort of part of your foundational myth, I suppose, but the dog racing. As I understand it, this spring is the last year you'll have that. What factors led to that decision?
No, it will be our last, but it's going to be our best. We're going to celebrate. This is a celebration of what has happened, and we wouldn't be here without the customers who go to the Greyhound. We wouldn't be here without the board, who we had board members. Just to give you a sense, when we put out a $7 million bond as the people of Dubuque and of Iowa helped to bring this here, we had board members put up second mortgages on their homes to provide collateral so that we could bring this asset to the community. And so just think of that. Like, most times people join a board or are involved, but our board and our community is committed to our success. And so we've reaped the benefits, but now we're transitioning. And so we're going to, take that land, and we are going to help to produce assets that not only produce cash to deliver back to the broader community, but we're going to have assets that help to welcome people. And so to this end, when we have opening day this year, we're going to have a great party. When we have the Derby this year, it's going to be an awesome party. And we're going to celebrate everyone who's worked in this facility for the last 35 years. We're going to make sure that the community really knows how impactful this is. And so it's time for us to move on from Greyhound racing, but we are going to make sure that this one last hurrah, we're going to recognize those people who've helped us to be here, because we stand on their shoulders, and we're extremely grateful for what they've provided for this community.
So this is a bold vision. Is there pushback in the community? And if there is, what would you say to that?
No, there's not pushback. There's a push in the back. The push in the back is say, thank you. Welcome. We're so glad you're here. From the employees, we've been able to increase their pay. We just finished our union negotiations with all 4 of our union partners, and people are excited about the future. People are excited about growing. People are excited about getting people to the river. And so and it's not shocking because we are a resilient community. When our backs were against the wall, we fought. We are faring the best, but we've got a great quality of life. We've got a low cost of living. And quite frankly, there's investment opportunity here in Dubuque, Iowa, that would shock not only Wall Street, but shock investors who are looking for ways to be able to grow their portfolio. And so I'm excited. The community is, And so the wind is at our back. And so we're excited here in Iowa, and specifically within Southwest Wisconsin, Eastern Illinois, and Western Illinois and Eastern Iowa.
Sure. My last question, 24 months from now, where do you want to be?
No, we will have
this whole project to be?
Yeah, we will have refurbished our core casino so that our core casino guests will be welcomed into a phenomenal facility that they and our city and our community can be proud about. We will have developed an infrastructure surrounding the Schmidt Island development so that we can take the plan that was on the shelf and now move that into action. There's going to be a coordination between the nonprofit sector as well as the private developers, that we will outline a plan about how we're going to develop this island over the course of the next 10 years. But first and foremost, we have already reinvested in our employees. We will reinvest in our community along the way, but we will put not only pen to paper, but we will put foundation in the ground and start to be the sprouts of the mustard seed that we are developing, so that we are able to welcome Major League Baseball in the Field of Dreams, and they're going to be able to hang out in a great place after they leave Dyersville. Hopefully they come down to Galena over in Wisconsin, Dubuque here, go up to Wisconsin and into Illinois and into Iowa. And so there's going to be movement. And so we're collectively working together to make sure that we can deliver on the great promise that we hold here in Dubuque.
Sounds like I got to go to Iowa soon.
Get here while you can, and while ADR rates are where they are, because look, it's going to be a hot ticket. I didn't move halfway across the country to sit on my heels. We are not twiddling our thumbs waiting for deals to happen. We're making it happen, and we've got the wind at our backs, and we've got the people of Dubuque and the people of Iowa who are ready to make things happen here.
Super. Well, thank you for sitting down with us, Mr. Alex Dixon.
Thank you.
Have an excellent day.
Cheers.